Most people shopping for a Ute start the same way. They search for a HiLux. They get a price. They nearly choke on their coffee. Then they reluctantly start looking at cheaper options, and immediately assume cheaper means worse. So they go back and stretch the budget for a HiLux anyway, because it feels safe. Here's what those buyers don't know. There are 5 Utes sitting in the Australian used market right now, some still sold new, that get completely overlooked by the majority of buyers. Not because they're bad. Not because they break. But because they don't have the badge, the marketing budget, or the cult following. And that's exactly why they're a better buy. If you can look past the name on the tailgate, any one of these could outlast a new HiLux you're still paying off in 5 years' time. Ute number 5. Mahindra pickup. The Mahindra gets dismissed at the first mention of the brand. Indian-made, unfamiliar dealership network, no street cred at the job site. Most tradies don't even bother looking twice. That's a mistake. Here's what the Mahindra pickup actually is. A body-on-frame diesel Ute built to survive conditions that would destroy most factory-standard dual cabs. The S11 variant runs a 2.2-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel producing 103 kilowatts and 320 newton-meters through an Aisin-sourced 6-speed automatic. That last point matters, because the Aisin gearbox is the same family of units used in a lot of Toyota products, and it's proven. Euro 6 compliant on the latest models, part-time 4WD, 500mm weighting depth, and a genuine 2,500 kilogram brake towing capacity. The longevity case is harder to dismiss than most people think. Car Expert reported in 2025 that a pickup operated by a Newcastle courier company had logged over 1 million kilometers, with 4 more units in the same fleet not far behind. That's not a marketing claim. That's a commercial fleet running these things into the ground and finding they don't break. The honest caveats: build quality is inconsistent unit to unit, the dealer network is thinner than what you get with Toyota or Ford, and sourcing parts in a regional area can take longer than you'd like. EGR issues and turbo-related problems have appeared on owner forums, same as you'd find on almost any modern common rail diesel. If you buy one, get it inspected by an independent mechanic first and confirm your nearest dealer can actually service it before you commit. Used examples sit well under what you'd pay for a comparable HiLux. If you need a hard-working diesel tray Ute and you're not concerned about badge prestige, the pickup deserves serious consideration, especially if you can find a newer S11 with documented service history.
Ute #4. GWM Cannon.
A few years ago, the GWM was the Ute people recommended as a joke. Chinese-made, cheap plastics, unknown brand, the kind of thing you'd mention to wind up a die-hard Toyota person. That's aged badly. The updated Cannon has a 2.4-litre turbo diesel producing 135 kilowatts and 480 newton-meters through a 9-speed automatic. The same ZF family gearboxes and Borg-Warner transfer case components found in much more expensive machinery. The updated 2025 model tows 3,500 kilograms, matching the Ranger and HiLux on paper. It earned a 5-star ANCAP safety rating under the 2021 protocols. 7-year unlimited kilometer warranty, including for commercial buyers. That's a manufacturer putting genuine money behind their confidence in the product. Pricing runs from around $40,000 to just under $50,000 drive away across the range, which means you're comparing a fully loaded Cannon to a base-spec HiLux. The reliability picture has been positive. Independent long-term testing by chasing cars over 6 months and more than 10,000 kilometers, including towing tests and outback driving alongside HiLux and D-Max, found the Cannon held up without major drama. There was a recall affecting a portion of 2023 models over a fuel filter O-ring that could cause fuel leaks. This was a manufacturing defect that Nissan style has been addressed, and it's worth checking the VIN of any used example against the Product Safety Australia register. The honest caveats: ride quality when unladen can be firm and choppy. One review noted a loss of composure over a significant mid-corner pothole at highway speed, and lane keep assist has drawn criticism for poor calibration. Parts availability and aftermarket support are still catching up to what you'd find for a Ranger or HiLux. It's not there yet, but it's improving fast. If you're a buyer who can look at spec sheets and service terms without needing to feel the badge on the tailgate, the Cannon is hard to argue against at this price point. Number 3. KGM Muso, formerly SsangYong. The name change from SsangYong to KGM hasn't helped the Muso's visibility. If anything, it's made it even easier for buyers to scroll past it. And yet the Muso might be the most underrated diesel Ute in Australia right now. This is a Korean-built, body-on-frame dual cab sharing its chassis and running gear with the Rexton wagon, a platform that's proven itself in Australia's toughest conditions for years. The 2.2-litre four-cylinder turbo diesel makes 133 kilowatts and 420 newton-meters, and Muso owners on Cars Guide have been notably consistent in their praise of the diesel drivetrain. Most report high kilometers with no major mechanical grief, provided it's been serviced properly. The ownership proposition is genuinely unusual. 7-year unlimited kilometer warranty for private and commercial buyers. 7 years of roadside assist. 7 years of capped price servicing, with the average annual service cost capped at under $470, verified by Cars Guide in their 2025 review. The 3,500 kilogram braked towing capacity matches segment-leading figures. A fully spec'd XLV Ultimate comes in around $50,000 drive away, which gets you heated and ventilated leather seats, dual 12.3-inch screens, and a powered sunroof, features that don't appear until $70,000 or $80,000 in a HiLux. The honest caveats: the Muso has no current ANCAP rating, the previous 2012 rating has expired, and the lack of a rear center lapsash seatbelt is a genuine shortcoming Car Expert flagged in their 2025 review. Resale value is poor compared to mainstream rivals, which matters if you're thinking about selling in 3 to 5 years. And the brand's fragile history in Australia, with SsangYong's previous importers folding, is something to keep in mind, though KGM has since committed to a direct presence. If you plan to run this ute for the long haul rather than flip it, the numbers are hard to beat. Ute number 2. Mazda BT-50, 2011 to 2020, Ford-based. Here's a ute that nobody talks about, and that's genuinely bizarre, because the Ford Ranger PX from the same era gets constant attention. The Mazda BT-50 UP and UR, sold in Australia from 2011 to 2020, shared its platform, its engine, and most of its running gear with the PX Ranger. Same 2.2-litre and 3.2-litre Duratorque 4-cylinder and 5-cylinder turbo diesel options, same gearboxes, same driveline architecture. The difference is what happened at the dealership. Fewer people wanted the Mazda badge on a ute, so fewer were sold, and now used examples sit significantly cheaper than equivalent Rangers with similar kilometers on the clock. You can walk into the same mechanical capability for thousands less, then spend the difference on a decent service and be ahead on day one. The 3.2-litre 5-cylinder is the engine to target in this generation. It's larger, more confident under load, and better suited to towing than the 2.2. The mechanical issues to know: the EGR cooler on these engines is a documented weak point. When the cooler splits internally, coolant can enter the exhaust system and in serious cases cause head damage. This is known, it's fixable, and a good pre-purchase inspection will tell you where the cooler stands. Injector wear after high kilometers is also reported on owner forums, so ask for service records and look for evidence of injector history before committing. Avoid anything with inconsistent service history. Check the VIN against Product Safety Australia for any outstanding recalls, and lean toward the 3.2 automatic. Do that, and you've got a ute with the same fundamental mechanical DNA as the most popular work ute on Australian job sites, for a fraction of the price.
Ute #1. Nissan Navara D40.
The D40 Navara has a reputation that's been dragged through the mud, some of it deserved, most of it exaggerated. And that gap between perception and reality is exactly what creates an opportunity for the buyer who's done their homework. The D40 ran from 2005 to 2015, powered by Nissan's Yard 25 DDT 2.5-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel. When it was launched, Nissan's own product planning chief acknowledged publicly that the D40 had quality issues. Clutch failures on some manual variants came in too early, the single-row timing chain is a documented weak point, and the plastic heater pipe junction is known to become brittle past 150,000 kilometers. Nissan said so themselves, and that honesty is partly what eventually made the NP300 a better product. Here's the other side of that story. A diesel workshop with decades on the tools reported on product review that they regularly see D40S with over 400,000 kilometers on the clock, heavily loaded service vehicles and off-road rigs, running without catastrophic failure. The Yard 25 engine, when properly maintained, has a well-established reputation for genuine longevity. The timing chain issue is fixable. A double-row chain upgrade kit from reputable suppliers addresses the failure point. The brass heater pipe replacement is a cheap and straightforward job. The EGR system needs attention like every modern diesel, but that's not unique to the D40. Used examples in serviceable condition regularly appear in the market at prices well under $15,000, sometimes closer to $10,000 for higher kilometer examples. At that price, with the right pre-purchase inspection and a few targeted upgrades done early, double-row timing chain, brass heater pipe, fresh EGR service, you're looking at a diesel ute with proven longevity, strong 4WD credentials, and a towing capacity that still does real work. Go automatic over manual if you'll be towing regularly. The manual clutch was the D40's most consistent weakness under load. By the service history, not the odometer reading. And if you can find a post-2010 Thai-built example with documented maintenance, you're looking at one of the best undervalued diesel utes in the Australian used market. Every ute on this list gets ignored for the same reason. The name on the badge doesn't carry weight at the servo or the job site, and most buyers aren't willing to be the person who has to explain their choice. That's understandable. But it also means the market keeps pricing these things below what they're worth. The HiLux is a good ute. Nobody's saying otherwise. But a new HiLux at current prices means 5 or 6 years of repayments, and when something goes wrong, and something always eventually goes wrong, you'll be paying premium rates for parts and labor because the badge demands it. These 5 utes don't carry that premium. They carry the actual capability, the actual mechanical substance, and the kind of ownership cost that leaves money in your account for the work that actually matters. If you're buying a ute to do a job, not to impress people at school pickup, one of these is worth a genuine look before you sign anything. If you want to know which diesel utes to actually avoid, the ones with problems that aren't fixable by a chain kit and a service, that video is right here.